It's just getting worse and worse and worse. Yesterday I had people living out of my dumpster.
There needs to be a spot for people to go. We just need to make sure and do it right.
How do you think the city is handling the homeless situation?
They're not. They would love us to just disappear.
Well, homelessness in Spokane has dominated the conversation the last 2 months. We've reported on funding for shelters, protests, and concerns the issue is hurting downtown businesses.
So how did we get here and what is the city doing about it? I set out to get some answers. It's just after 7 on a recent Tuesday night. The temperature outside is right around freezing, and the South Cannon warming shelter offers an escape. How do you stay warm if you're not in here?
You don't. You just huddle up with whoever you're with, my little dog here and whatever, and do your best.
Barb was among the 43 people lucky enough to snag a spot here for the night. This shelter reached capacity in less than 30 minutes.
Is this the first time I've ever been homeless?
For the 54-year-old, being here means warmth and safety.
It's scary to be outside and have to sleep. I don't sleep most of the time. Today we, took a nap under a bridge because it's crazy, but you have to just go wherever you think it might be safe.
Her story is far from unique. According to the annual Everybody Counts survey, she is one of roughly 1,200 people experiencing homelessness across the Spokane community. And this year, the issue became impossible to ignore. Homeless advocates set up camp outside of City Hall, calling for a repeal of the sit and lie and anti-camping ordinances. And they took to the streets demanding a 24/7 full-service shelter. Meantime, city leaders scrambled to open more warming shelters. All the while, many downtown business owners complained the city's homeless were driving away customers and compromising their safety.
Within the last year, it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Rita Santillanes owns this building off West 3rd Avenue near Division. She says she calls police several times a month to report people sleeping in her dumpster, fighting, or doing drugs in her parking lot. She shared this picture with us from over the summer of a woman passed out on her property with several needles by her side.
People need to understand none of us are trying to be heartless. We all understand that there's a problem and it needs to be addressed. But we also have to pay our mortgages. The bank isn't going to say, oh, well, there's a problem at your location, so just don't make your payment this month. And if our patrons are afraid to come in to our establishment, we don't have anyone that wants to lease the property.
It's a similar sentiment from Kirsten Hines, who manages the Rocket Bakery on Wall Street in downtown Spokane.
It definitely happens more in the winter months, so when it's colder out.
Like Rita, she feels for people living on the street, but says the situation downtown is getting worse.
We also want to maintain a level of peace here as well, so it is tough to find that balance, but we just do the best we can.
But it really became more visible in the community, and we heard from a lot more citizens on all sides of the issue.
We took their concerns to City Council President Ben Stuckert. He acknowledged that business owners have been impacted, and he points to a couple of causes. He says there's a housing crisis in Spokane.
We're just not building enough housing in our community.
Fewer vacancies and rising rent are compounding the problem. Then in September, the city and Catholic Charities decided to reduce the capacity of the 24/7 shelter at the House of Charity by 150 beds.
And there were just too many people in a building that wasn't built for 300 people. So when that closed down, it then really became visible to the community.
With fewer shelter beds, the city council voted in November to suspend sit-lie until more shelter spaces came online. And business owners like Rita say they were left to deal with the consequences.
So when I myself, this is our corporate offices, and when I myself am afraid to walk out after dark, we walk out in groups now, or we have pepper spray in our purses, that's not a good thing.
People should have a shelter over their head, but businesses should also be able to operate, and that's the balance we're trying to achieve.
Stuckert says progress is being made. Sit and Lie is set to be reinstated next week, and the city is looking to open another homeless shelter by July 1st outside of the downtown core, so that once warming shelters like the one here on South Cannon close for the season, people like Barb have somewhere to go.
You can't describe it. I mean, just anybody that think about it, how would they like to be homeless, 54 years old, disabled, and live on the street in this weather?
Stuckert says in 2019, the city is set to spend more than $2.4 million on the issue of homelessness. A grant from HUD is helping to create what is called an Envision Center, which will serve as a single location where someone can go to get connected with a variety of resources to help them out of homelessness. By the way, Spokane, one of just 18 cities nationwide to be selected for the program, and it will start taking appointments coming up here in March. Bottom line, there are several causes to homelessness, no simple solution. The city right now is still trying to figure out how to best deal with the situation.